I'd like to call the Thursday, August 21st meeting of the Parks and Community Services Committee to order. First thing I need to do is ask if there were any revisions that need to be made to the draft minutes for July 17 that were in the packet. Where's the meeting? No? So can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented? Make a motion to. You can't do that.
I can't either over here.
A second.
I second.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and call those approved. Do we have any public comment this time? Nobody on the line. Okay. All right. We'll move right ahead. First, we made the monthly statement.
For this month, we weeded the rose garden at Polk Hall where the water line was put in for the backbone, by the academy. Planted 3 wax myrtles, 1 spruce tree and 1 serviceberry tree up on the bank right above Hemlock. And so there's plenty of room further east for future plantings with the academy kids.
Thank you.
We got the new fisherman's sculpture back, it's all bronze and everything.
So that's
Great, yeah, it's
It's really cool.
Look out close.
really detailed. Helped source with excavation, PK with the mowing around the sewer. So Kirk and I get really close to the fence, what he can't get, and we keep around it. And then he goes with the mower and does that. And then I was over the other day at First and Spruce helping the water department with the water main where they're connecting that new building.
Is that the new cut across the road?
That was Northwest Ag. Yeah, that was. But it's in that same area where that big oak spot was, that we had to feed the water main. Pretty cool about those guys, get a lot of knowledge, and it's cool to see how all that stuff works, you know, stuff you don't think about, turning water out, where it comes from. And then, you know, the first moment, I picked up some plants various times and plant them around and normal wall baskets and that. So, pretty much it for this month.
I had a question that came up. It's flowers. They were exactly right there. We're on Sunset, where the ramp, or where the on ramp going south, that little triangle there. Is there an optimum time to plant that kind of stuff? I guess I was thinking we're close to the end of the season, but you were still planting, so is that you can plant anytime?
Yeah, I mean, you can plant it and they're not gonna last as long as you plant in
Okay.
spring compared to fall to fall, but
Well, it looks great.
Summers.
Those are perennials, I think.
yeah.
So
So they,
the perennials, they kind of name that in my fish, I mean, those look
I
good.
think the month that I planted will probably die or I'll replace them, or eat some of them. But I planted some like junipers and then some grasses that are perennial or that leave alone, but I'm trying to plant some daisies.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to plant stuff there that doesn't get real tall and we don't want it. If you're siding, trying to enter that on here, if you're looking for cars, coming, you don't want something big, yeah.
that's right, that's true. Kind of a risky place in some place. I think that's the key. Yeah, here they are.
I was gone 2 weeks, so that's why.
I don't see any right-of-way trees this month. Is there anything that needs to come up? Okay. Next on the agenda is the Parks Master Plan. And it included in, the packet, there's a couple pages, that I put together where I went out to, the Parks Master Plan and basically just tried to give us a working list of everything that was in the master plan. That I thought that would be something that would be helpful to the group to, to look at. And what I'm hoping, is that we can come together as Parks Committee and, think about what kind of projects make sense to us that we would like to suggest at budget time. I wanted to spend just a few minutes, if it's okay, talking about some of the things that are on this list to make sure that I'm not miscommunicating anything. Again, this was from the actual master plan. So first of all, some of the things have already been done are in the process. So it is a working document. And I tried over in one of the columns on the right to put some notes about the status of several of them, as I understand it. Let's see, so let's see. Like the restroom, near Haystack Rock, that's been looked at, and there really isn't any feasible way to do that. There's really no reason to promote that. Like the next one down where, and I'm about 2/3 of the way down on the first page. I'm sorry, it's hard to point where it says P3 Gold State Recreation Site. I mean, this was supposed to, if we were, the city would actually take over operation of that facility. Well, that's not really in the works in the foreseeable future anyway. But I did want to highlight that the improved boat ramp or the improved ADA beach access is very much ongoing. So again, those are all things, and there's some other examples in there, things that we don't need to really focus on. I also put, and these are right at the top of the first page, some things that were extra on top of the, what's in the Parks Master Plan. They were works that have been submitted or that I was aware of for this year. And I wanted to make sure that we kind of didn't drop anything that someone from the public had suggested. Those are the ECFR, the loop trail maintenance. That was the one where Richard Bertolotti came and talked to us. I think that we have put to bed that we don't have any interest in adding a bridge across the West Fork. But he did talk about some, what would essentially be maintenance, I think, in the existing loop trail that I didn't want to forget. I don't know if it would be appropriate to do anything, but we didn't want to lose that. We had Michelle Guerra, who came and talked to us about that ADA playground. We saw that picture, and I think her vision was that actually would be coupled with a TAC, or tourism arms type funding project. So probably nothing we can do right now, but I didn't want to forget that. There was an email from Karen Vaughn, this has been several months ago, but it came from a lady named Sally Duthin. I don't know, we're talking about some microplastic cleanup equipment for use on the beach. And I think when I talked to Karen about it, I think that right now we're just waiting to see if, the student wants to come back and give us some more information. But those things, that's a possibility for sometime in the future, I suppose. I think you all got the next one, the cleanup parties. Now, this is the list that Karen Lamont sent us for, we talked about, well, what we talked about was that there were places in town that just needed a little attention. And, so I put a list of those in there, and I think I had a question on whether this might be appropriate if we do get additional support from the Bible College. And I think we had talked about that this type of thing, we might even be able to post on the city website as a work party and try to get some more public engagement. And then finally, I listed, the ongoing pollinator garden project, that Betty's been spearheading, at Ecola Creek Park. So, with an eye for things that are appropriate for the parks Parks Committee to think about, I'm curious, has anybody got any ideas or things that you think we should consider to support? And they don't actually have to come up with a list. I've got one I want to share, but I'd rather not drive this whole discussion, so I'm curious.
Well, just a general observation, I reviewed the plan yesterday, so not in a lot of detail, but one, I was reminded right at the beginning, I'm glad to see that it's a park and trails master plan, so I don't know if they're equally weighted, but it's good to, I think in my mind at least, I'm gonna be thinking that there should be, the trails aren't gonna be, oversight or something, so. With that, and then, it seemed, it looked like, and some of it now, that might be prioritized high, the feasibility is real low. And some of the things have actually been done, it's been addressed, like say building the trail under the bridge to connect two parks. You've done that with a crosswalk now.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be easy to check some of those items off, but one of the things that's in here, a couple of places that I like, maybe from just my reference was how it was, looking at linking, when we're linking parks and using trails to link them, that there's also with an eye towards, emergency evacuation. So, so if we're including that, okay, this trail is also, we hope that 99.9% of the time it gets used for walking, but if not, it's there in case people need to get out of town in a hurry. And then go to a place that they could somehow stage with it. So I kind of saw that and liked it in there. The others is I like some of them, and I'm biased towards Tolovana because I walk there every morning. I have some witnesses that could verify that, and I'm frequently down there. But there's some ideas there about some of the, like a trail, and the trail is actually, I'm looking at that, I go, well, that's a route I walk every day. So to make it a trail is a communication thing. So putting it on a map or something like that. And we know we don't want to put a lot of signs up, because I do like also that it emphasizes that we want to keep our village feel here. To get these things done, we don't want signs all over. If you walk here and do this, park here, don't do that. And then the other in that area that just came to light to be, in my mind, relatively easy would be, what we're focusing on, it emphasizes that the beach are our preeminent park. We're open on that. And so what can we do that's relatively easy, such as maybe some signage to let people know that, hey, this is an official beach access. It might look like a hotel parking lot, but no, this is a place that you can also park, not exclude anybody, but something that would say like, beach access parking. Because I do see that frequently, that several of them there where the roads just intersect with the beach is a lot of times they're full with what appears to be overnight parkers, where the facilities parking lot is only half full. So it's just on a communication education with it. So to me, I'm kind of pointing in as a kind of a map geek. So I'm thinking that if maps not already in production, that we could accomplish a lot was starting with the map because we're trying to change human behavior, which we all know is really difficult. But that's kind of what I was left with kind of just an impression reviewing it again yesterday, so. Thanks.
Good, I know, I recall, I don't remember where they were, but there were several of the Parks Master Plan punch list items that talked about, some kind of a guide or a list or a map, and it would help better communication, so maybe that may be something that.
When I was working on the ADA, ADU, whatever, looking around town to see when we had a signage. And I noticed that the chamber has a map in their book that they used to give out of all the different trails and beaches, so we could look at what they have and upgrade it. And maybe, since it already exists, it would be just something easier to just look into what they've already done.
Right.
And then add to, and go look at the different sites and see what we could do to beef them up a little bit. I did work with Karen a few days ago about the idea of what Anita brought up, which was, we would do more around town to help AJ and Kirk out. So we talked about getting it on the map, not map, excuse me, getting it on the calendar, the city website. And we would have a yearly calendar of sites that we could visit so that people coming to town would see it. So I'm hoping that can happen. But she suggested, we've already started the Elk Creek Park habitat, pollinator habitat. But she also mentioned we could do one at Whale Park over here where the bramble bushes are. We could take those out and put pollinators. That might be a place that would beautify that area. And over at Sunset, some pollinator plants. So
Sunset Park.
I think it's that little pocket park over on the end of.
That's fishing area.
Yeah, maybe put some pollinator
That
plants
is
there.
fisherman's spot.
So that we could we're adding pollinator plants at the Cannon Beach Academy. So we could start advertising our city as a pollinator friendly city. We encourage pollinators, we love trees, we're Tree City USA.
Is that what all those flowers are in front of the Cannon Beach Academy?
Yeah.
Those, that feels really nice.
We, the kids made seed balls and threw them, and they all came up, so.
Yeah, they look really nice.
Yeah, so I could have the kids throw some more seed balls around town too. In discreet places.
I had a weed eater. And yeah, I believe the Sunset Bond Park of Fisherman's Dance is actually in West Cashman. We'll do banking hours in, that's going for DRB, so we're gonna be careful what we do there.
Okay.
We will be on. I was wondering if we're all or not, but this is, in big pictures, always of the maintenance concern.
Yeah, don't make it harder on you
When
guys.
we're selling in jungle, like a cold creek, that's cool. But that's what that's, but. Take over the easily maintained place and making it more difficult to maintain.
Right, I
Check
agree.
with the expert. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. So that's what I had to add.
Anything else? So, Anita, are you on now?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to sit down with you personally. I know we were supposed to.
It's
But
August. Everybody's busy. It's
what
fine.
your thoughts were about the Parks Master Plan and where your priorities might lie?
Well, I really appreciate listening to everybody's ideas and feedback, and I think I can go along with most of it. I feel like a priority is what we need to do first, and maybe going through like you did and realizing what isn't going to work, like the bathrooms by Haystack Rock. Um, I like trail development. I think that's something that we could be really helpful with, as I believe council is also interested in pursuing that. I think maybe before developing a map that we should do some site visits and really sit and brainstorm about our trail development. I'm not sure what I feel about along Highway 101. That doesn't really seem like a really safe or enjoyable trail to walk with cars and trucks and whatnot. Um, and I also, dear Betty, I love your pollinator gardens, but at Whale Park, if I understood right, the area there, I mean, that's beachfront, that's brutal area right there to try to grow anything. And I will just add too that I have a son that is allergic to bees, so when we start talking about making pollinator gardens all over with bees, I start becoming a little bit sensitive to people that have allergies. So those are just some off of the top of my head thoughts right now, but I'm really glad and excited that we are looking at the Parks Master Plan and taking it on.
It's appropriate, I'm hearing a lot of that here, you guys. I think we need to pick a location where there might already be an existing trail or elk trail. And do a site visit, you know, let's pick one area, let's do a site visit and walk it and talk about it, and I think that would be appropriate.
Well, Trevor, when Tom, did you wanna say anything before I?
No, well, trails, we need to take a look at the trails, I know one of them that's proposed is, I think, not right. Okay, you got a trail that's going to a lowland that somebody threw down some boards and try to have a trail for the summer months, but the winter months, it all goes in the water. So I think they had good intentions here, but we need to take another look at it.
Yeah, so
I
what,
think we-
out of curiosity, where is that trail?
It's kind of in I forget what street it is, but it goes through the lowlands over to Cole Park Road, and then it goes down Sixth Street, and then up,
Kind of on the north end of the.
yeah, and it's a very steep hill to climb, and then you gotta go through lowlands, to develop that for bikes and walking. No, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna, if it does happen, it's only gonna be useful during the summer. Because it's underwater. But anyway, I think we need to take another look at what that
Yeah,
proposal
I'm curious, I'm not familiar with that particular trail.
And we have to be sensitive of property values.
Yeah. Right.
So I had a chance to sit down with Karen and Trevor, a couple of weeks ago now. And one proposal, it's in it is in the Parks Master Plan, but it's actually also addressed, in the, transportation system plan. Is a trail that would basically parallel Spruce Street, but it would actually be within the Spruce Forest Reserve. And so we would gain, I think, a couple of things that would be beneficial. We would potentially get foot traffic off of Spruce where it's really a little bit narrow and could be dangerous, although I'm not aware of anybody ever hitting one. But it would also open up a part of that spruce forest that nobody ever gets to see. There are some beautiful trees back in there. Karen actually sent me a link, and I can share that with Sherry to send out. There was a recent article or publication on a similar trail that Rockaway put together, and it's actually pretty nice. We're talking about a boardwalk, a real boardwalk type of raised path, trail, at least for a good part of it, because that's all you have. It would probably involve, some kind of a bridge potentially, if it was something. So it wouldn't be somebody put down boards, for dry weather. This would be something that would be available, and then we could kind of promote the Spruce Forest Reserve as an asset.
Might require a reason. How do you can go to trail of that magnitude? There are whole nature.
issues that potentially, I hadn't even thought about it, but that, you know, one of the hard places, the difficult places to get out in a tsunami event is right where we're at. And I wonder if, based on what you, Mark, the comment you made, if that would be potentially a benefit to downtown, because it would, as I understand it, basically start right here at the corner of First and Spruce, and then go back up into the tree.
Kind of, yeah. Here.
Oh, yeah, that, yeah, here's what I understand as well.
Here's Little Pompeii. And then this is where that new structure is gonna be built over there. That is being built on, but it's across the street, it's Spruce and First. And it would go into the riparian area and then into the forest. It would be a boardwalk. So it'd be really, it would be accessible ADU.
Yeah.
But it would also, you know, be a path that wouldn't need to be weeded all the time. I hope.
Yeah, and then, I know just in the conversation, there were some thoughts about how to make it more maintenance free, but which that will all come up later on. So I kind of wanted to mention that because I think it might be a project that we would be, you know, interested in. I think there is some, it makes sense compared to, you know, some of the punch lists that exist in some of the various plans. You know, and it would be a pretty big deal that, we would certainly need to understand how we could help with the planning of that. You know, maybe do a site visit out there and really look at what it looks like.
I like that idea too. I've been in the one at Rockaway Beach a couple times. It's really nice. And it's also very popular. It's not unusual for the parking lot to be completely full. And they've taken it as an opportunity for some environmental education too. You're getting people out into that wetland and helping them understand what they're seeing and the importance of wetlands and the importance of those preserving those trees and such. So it's multiple purposes.
Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention, you know, signage, you know, we talked in the past about potential for heritage trees in Region. I think there are trees in there that we could celebrate that way if we wanted to. I know we don't want to mark them as, you know, as heritage trees necessarily, but, you know, it's a nice place and it's hard to get. Anyway, I'd like to throw that out for consideration based on the conversation that I had, previously. I think that might be a good one, but I think what we probably could do though is settle on, you know, what we want to get done going into next year. And the ones that would need to be put into the budget, we need to understand what information, you know, the city needs in order to be able to do that. Any other thoughts? Nita, any other thoughts?
Well, I'm probably gonna be in opposition to putting a boardwalk in the Spruce Reserve. I've been to Rockaway. It is beautiful, but it's over a wetlands. I'm thinking cutting trees and things like that. And also that's adding a new project. And I really think we need to focus on what we've got in the current Parks Master Plan and get through that, develop some trail ideas to present, you know, with Karen and Trevor's blessing to council, and that will help initiate some development. And if people are really on board, the majority, for putting some developed boardwalk in the Spruce Reserve, then I guess we can take a look at that. But I hope we can stay focused on, you know, prioritize some things, focus on that, get through it before we start getting other projects on the table.
The only thing I would mention is I think the way that Karen was looking at this was there is a item in the Parks Master Plan that's called the Spruce Street Sidewalk. That there isn't enough room to do that. And so one of the ways that I think that she was trying to consider this trail is an alternative to putting a sidewalk along Spruce Street because it's, there wasn't any way to make it wide enough to accommodate that.
But there is a trail that goes through there. It goes from Monroe all the way to Second. So it's just a matter of educating. And there's more and more people on that all the time when I'm walking it. So I think that to keep trying to make us have more development in the Spruce Reserve is going against what I believe our Parks Master Plan is indicating.
That's why it's own open space instead of open space recreation park. That was the thinking on many, many years ago.
Okay.
My thought when she was talking about it wasn't that the boardwalk would go all the way through, that it would just get us through the riparian area where people can't go now. And it would just turn into the regular trail that's there. That's when I was talking to her, that's what I thought she was saying. So it wouldn't be, the whole thing wouldn't be a boardwalk. But
you can get there from Second Street, and Second Street can also be used as an emergency exit. So I guess I'm maybe not understanding the vision that you all have, but I think that's where I'm looking at it differently.
Well, I think it's premature to say that we have a vision. I think that's the point of being able to have that conversation and see kind of what each of us sees as what might be the priorities that we could support. I appreciate what you said. You know, I think you've got some good points. But anyway, you said Karen, okay. Karen?
Thanks. Betty hit the nail on the head of what the objective was with this. And there was no trees cut in the Rockaway boardwalk building, and there wouldn't be any in this effort as well. The boardwalk is meant to meander through the trees and give the opportunity to educate the public as to what that area is all about. And for us, they could pick it up at First Street. There could be some interpretive signs that are visible for the public because most people don't even know that trail exists in there. Our locals do, but other people don't. And in the TSP, as Les pointed out, that was an item that was discussed in a lot of the public meetings, was to get people from walking in the middle of Spruce Street and get them to go through the reserve, what would be an attractive trail. We would educate them. And it isn't meant to go the entire length of the reserve. It is meant to go from First through those blocks where people tend to walk in the street, and it's dangerous, especially in the area near the mobile towers where the street is steep and you can't see that someone's in the street until your car nose comes down and you're able to be a little bit more visible. That's what, provoked the discussion about a sidewalk, and there just isn't the space to put a sidewalk there. We took a look at that and had a surveyor come out. And so that's where the boardwalk through the reserve and the opportunity to educate the people on what that area is came out of that discussion. So that was my intent of offering that up as an idea. It kind of hits the trail pulse point. It's public safety. It incorporates the TSP with your efforts. It kind of hit a lot of the check marks.
Thank you, Karen. Well, there wasn't any, I didn't have any desire to come to a decision today. I think that this is still something that, we could have some more conversation about. What I do hear though is that trails in a broader sense seems to be of interest generally to the whole group. So let's take it, we'll take it offline. We'll take a look at, we talked about doing a site visit. Maybe we could do, a site visit,
Plus, I forgot to mention that Rockaway did that with grant money. There is grant money available to develop your forested areas as well as your watershed areas. So this would be a project that you would qualify for grant funding if someone wanted to take that on.
All right. Any last thoughts on that piece? I feel like I need, it's hard to work these kind of things outside, if we stick to just the meeting, 1 hour meeting. I won't put Bruce on the hot seat right now, but some of the other small groups that we've had working on projects are now not working on anything because there's some issues with public meeting notice and some concerns about that. So I think I understand we'll get something on August the 28th from the lawyers, maybe. And maybe we can see how we might be able to split off into small groups again and work on some of these kind of projects. But, for the time being, all of our little focus groups have been shut down. Yeah, Betty, you want to go ahead and go to the next item and look at the monthly cleanups?
Okay, this last month, we were at the Ecola Creek Park and kind of renewing our visit there, and we decided the center area is what we're gonna focus on, planting pollinators. And so we're digging back from where we had worked. Luckily, where we had worked was pretty good shape. So we were working from there, spreading it out just a little bit more. And we're gonna be planting, we planted some pollinator plants, but we're gonna be planting more next. And as I said, I met with Karen about getting our work on the city website so that we potentially could get more help. And anybody in the Parks Committee that wants to help on these cleanups, it's really, we really need more blood, in there, young blood and blood, old blood, any kind of blood. Because it's a big deal, and it's every time we make a new trail, we're bringing light into a situation, and then invasives come, so. We have a big trail system right now on, it's the Forest Reserve, and we haven't even been doing that for the last, since our E. coli kids were here. So, I'm sure when we go back to that, it's gonna need a lot of attention, so. We have quite a few, if you look at all the different sites, the rose gardens and trails, we need to figure out a way to get a group of people coming that are dedicated every month to help us. Because, AJ can't do this all by himself, and Kurt, so we have to build the support somehow. And the E. coli kids, we're gonna be recruiting them again. But they change every year, and it's not guaranteed they would sign up to work with us. So we had a wonderful group last year, but 2 of them have graduated. We're not sure who are gonna, some of them said they would come back, but we only had 5. So we're hoping to get more E. coli Bible kids. They were wonderful. But if you have any ideas about how we can get more community support, I'm all ears on that. So that's.
Well, I would like to suggest, after talking to some people in town, is that the city hire a dedicated landscaper that can go through and weed and clean and do some of the maintenance that is ongoing within the city, because we're all getting older, and maybe young people have other things that they want to do. And it could just be a seasonal hire, but it seems that should be considered by the city as a way to maintain and keep things in order.
Well, I just think when we go out as a group, sometimes there's 8 of us, sometimes there's 3, but it always feels like there's so much work and it's pretty overwhelming. So I don't think one extra body at the city is gonna,
Then they can hire 2 or 3. But
Yeah.
my point is that I think that there's a definite need for some extra help maintaining the parks and the facilities within town, trails, all of that.
Thank you,
So on your thought, Betty, the only, I know we've talked a little bit about this, would be, I don't know if there's enough, if you get more people or just to dilute them. But if there's other timing opportunities, I know the Saturday morning doesn't look great for me, because I got family obligations, but during the week, I can usually schedule my time, because it's just made it a little bit easier, so I don't know if there'd be a way to, and I know a lot of people travel from outside the area and they're here Saturdays, and so probably a big part of your participation is they came in and they come in to contribute to the community that way by helping, but
yeah,
if there were a way to pick another weekday and let people know that usually it's 2 hours. Just committing 2 hours, whatever's a good time for folks in the morning, we'll have you done by lunchtime, you know, and during the week, I know that you probably see me more.
yeah. I think the Tuesday we did last year worked really well because some of the younger people in town said they would come out if it wasn't on the weekend. So that's sort of why we picked Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we can start doing that Tuesday again.
That worked well.
And we are gonna ask for the community, we're gonna, do another ask for the Ecola Bible kids. So hopefully they'll be able to come out too. But anyway, if we get the word out on the website, maybe more people will find out about it too. Cause I'm limited by who says to me they wanna be on it. If you know anybody that wants to be on it, I can put them on the list and they can be notified every month, so. Anyway,
But I'd like to say, what Mark was saying, you know, another day is gonna, I think, improve things. Right now, you got a lot of nonprofits, they all work off volunteers, and guess what? I've got something going on quite often on Saturdays. And, I'm sure a lot of the other folks are too, but every nonprofit is struggling for volunteers right now. So we're competing against everybody in town. So anything that we can do to try to, hey, let's try to level the playing ground a little bit, different day.
yeah,
Any other thoughts like that? I think are beneficial.
yeah. Okay, that's great, thank
And I
you.
do think that, you know, another day would offering would be good. I know personally, when we were so busy with CERT, that Saturday morning was our training day, you know, so it's difficult to find that spot, but if we can be flexible, then we'll find some new people.
That's
I
right,
mean, right now, Tuesday is farmer's market, but that'll be ending here another,
that's right. There's one of them now.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
we're a busy little city. Anyway, Karen, did you have your hand up?
I did. I'm sorry, I have to address the head count comment, which I think is way outside the scope of this committee. But we have 1.5 members on our parks team, as you know, to maintain Cannon Beach. What you guys are talking about are projects that go above and beyond the regular maintenance of the community. And in the swings of the season, such as the spring, when everything is growing like it's on steroids, our 3 roads crew members supplement the parks team by helping out. Even our recycle person assists in those big season swings. So that's how we manage the demands of the season when it comes to the parks resources. But in the winter, when you don't have that kind of demand, those folks are actually helping our roads crew, which is very busy during the winter time. So this is how we supplement the needs of those two groups. But again, you guys are talking about removing blackberries in an area that was never removed before. It was left natural to be its natural habitat. And yes, blackberries are invasive, but we haven't ever hired a contractor landscape company to come in and excavate and pull out blackberries in areas that were meant to be more natural in its habitat. So if that's what you want to do, you propose it as a project. We bring on seasonal support as a contractor to help staff address those projects. But to do that on a full-time ongoing basis is not a reasonable request, and it's outside the scope of this committee to be making a recommendation like that.
That wasn't my intent, Karen. I'm sorry if that's how it came across. I was talking more about this list of projects that you provided, such as the Rose Garden weeding, the old school site, the Gower Street Trail, the trail behind the city hall. I mean, those things, I guess, is what, that need constant maintenance. And I was just thinking like a seasonal young landscaper could come and work for the city for the summer, and then that would allow some of these great projects that Betty is involved in. So I'm sorry if I came across as trying to just have somebody come in and excavate blackberries. That wasn't what I was trying to communicate. So
Thank
sorry.
you for that clarification.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, move on. We've got about 10 minutes left. Do you have anything else, Betty?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Just a real quick note on community grants. The plan right now, I don't have a date yet, but is for the recipients to be announced by our mayor at the September concert. I've talked to Andrew and to Mayor Knopp. That's looks like that'll work, but Andrew does not yet have the concert on the calendar, so I'm not sure what the date will be. I myself will be out of town for one weekend, so I'm hoping it doesn't fall that weekend, but when we do finally get the date, then I'll make sure everybody's aware of it, and as many of us as can attend, that would be great. To just kind of, I don't know, to be recognized for the hard work that this group does. But hopefully that'll be it. And then I didn't see it, but I understand that there was an article in the Gazette that talked about the this year's community grants. So those were the things that we had said that we would do to publicize the process. And I think we're pretty well on track. Anything else? Right, regarding.
I believe everybody got their checks.
I've had several people tell me they have, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry, for taking care of that piece of it. I think that all went flawlessly. They all like her. So is there anything for the good of the order?
I've got one, just kind of that popped up yesterday was, I think some of you know that I'm helping the Arch Cape Water District with some road maintenance and road decommissioning project. Their watershed has like 13 miles of road, and we're taking it down to 5 that we're gonna be maintaining, and the other ones are getting decommissioned, culverts pulled, resloped, and quite a bit of work they've been working on for a couple of years. Developed a plan. The person that developed the plan went on sabbatical, and so they handed it to me to do. So I get the easy work, I get to implement it, and it batted at, $500,000. So it's a lot of work, but part of it is we're almost done now. We've got a lot of exposed soil. It calls to be seeded with grass and then straw over the top of it. We've done a fair amount of that, but we're also going to use it as opportunities for showing some of these pollinators. So That's part of it. They actually, as soon as I brought it up to them, the district representative were kind of excited rather than just having, it's a weed-free native grass, but still has some pollinator patches in places. So I ordered some of that. I ordered 3 pounds yesterday, which doesn't sound like a lot, but, that's enough to do about 5,400 square feet. And we're gonna put them in patches in places, because that's working with, I've been working with Silver Falls Seed. Great website if you're interested in seed at all, and it is silverfallseed.com. They're in Silverton, but they actually produce seed and ship it, I think, internationally. So it's nice having them right in our backyard. They help me a lot with the seed mix. They got quite a variety. So we're gonna use one that's kind of tested in this area on some forest land, so it should be applicable there too. So it's coming up. It's for that seed. It's sowing season is September. So I ordered it yesterday. It should be here about 7 to 10 days. Brought it up briefly yesterday. I heard some enthusiasm from some folks here. So I'll go ahead and order the 3 pounds, and by the time you get it here, it's about $180. But I'll order, I think if we agree, got permission from the city to go ahead and have some patches in there too. I'll order more today and get it delivered, and we can try it.
That area where we put the water line in, for Ace High Kites next to the academy, we hydro seeded the exposed ground there. Can some of this product be put on top of the hydro seed, or is that?
Yeah, good question. I asked them about that too. They said, yes, it can be compatible to overseeding where you've already just seeded grass. We just know that they're going, well, ultimately the grass is gonna be a better competitor, so it's gonna crowd the pollinators out over time. So, but they can, where we've done it, we're gonna try to do some areas that aren't seeded with grass. And all you gotta do is loosen the soil to a small degree, cast it in there, and we're just gonna sprinkle some mulch over the top of it. But September, right before we're gonna get some rains, is a good time. Be a mix of annuals and perennials. The annuals will, both of them will germinate this fall and just kind of sit there in the spring. And then the annuals grow and flower next year, produce seed, should be kind of replacing itself. The perennials, as we know, kind of the first year they grow, it looks like it's like when you just planted a weed. It's the second year perennials will flower, and so it'll really look good in 2 years. So you gotta be a little patient with things. But if you want, I'll buy some of that seed. It'll be available. If we got some places to use it, great. If I get reimbursed, maybe better. If not, I'll contribute to the cost. So get some of that. Thanks.
Excited about that. That would be great at school.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks for doing that. Anything else?
Anita's got her hand up. Anita.
Hi. Well, just as sort of a fun throwing out there as a pilot program, what if the city offered some elk deterrent for residents? And I say that as I was just recently visited and my whole garden was annihilated about the 3rd year in a row. And it just talking with people, there are some measures that could be taken to deter them. And so I didn't know if maybe the city would maybe visit a pilot program of some sorts and provide some elk deterrent for residents. But just throwing it out there.
Thank you, Anita. I don't think we have a policy on elk, do we?
No.
I know I agree with that. There are some. There's a seven. Aaron stops. It's not.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Do we have any experience, some kind of a city with using that stuff?
Yeah.
All I ever hear is them, if they're hungry enough, they'll eat it.
I've been using some stuff that's called Beer Out, and it's all natural. It consists of, I think, like garlic, white pepper, peppermint, and then type of oil to get it to stick to the plants. But it actually smells pretty good, I think, kind of like a sweet, savory smell. And it's worked really well. I mean, I've been spraying it on that little ginkgo tree over there, and they used to just destroy it and have chewed it up all year. So,
How long does it, you have to replace it after every rain, or does it have some?
no, I can't remember, it says it doesn't wash off in the rain very easily, but I mean, if you just get annual downpour, probably, but it's supposed to soak into the plant, and then if they did want They don't like it, even if it did wash off. But with, if it's just stuck to the plant, they won't even bite it at all. But it should still be absorbed into the plant so that it doesn't taste well.
It's called Deer Out.
Year out, yes.
Good to know.
I bought it on Amazon.
Yeah, I think private property was up to them, and we do the best they can for them.
Just from experience, it works really well. That's what I used to grow on, and some that's there, kept them away until I forgot to reapply it after the rain, and then
Yeah, you know, used to use stuff from the seventies called Red Skid. And I think AJ stuff is better than that stuff. That was like a big one. That was stuff.
yeah, I sprayed it and one thing. Okay, they can eat everything, I'm not spraying sanitation.
Unless the Karen wanted us to announce what the,
Yeah, yes, first, our ECFR, was gonna be closed until October first, just like we stated before, we trying to wrap up that project, it was really great out there, we're finishing the last thing of pipe up there. And then we'll be out there, we're looking forward to opening it back out into the public.
I think that would be, a big deal.
Yeah, another exciting.
Well, actually, I know there's people who've been going up there anyway, and,
Yes.
and that's not appreciated, but it is, at least it's an indication that folks miss the access, so it'd be good. Okay, thank you, Sherry. Anything else? All right, then we'll adjourn for the day. Thank you so much.